Going online to join this educational webinar. I am B. Nutana, lecturer in computer science, TSWRDC, Jagadgiri Gutta College. Machine learning. It is a growing technology which enables a machine to automatically learn from data, improve performance from experiences, and predict things without being explicitly programmed. Machine learning is making our day to day life easy, from self driving cars to Amazon Alexa. So, the webinar is aimed to teach the attendees the tools and practical applications of machine learning with hands on project experience using machine learning tools. It highlights on some of the machine learning tools used in different fields. This webinar will also focus on the applications of machine learning in the field of medicine, education, etc. It not only helps the students but also teachers to develop their skills. So I warmly welcome today's speaker, Mrs. Azmat Mubin, who is going to give comprehensive information on tools and applications of machine learning.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Now I'm glad to welcome our Honorable Zonal Coordinator South, Dr. P. Rajni Madam, who always encourages us to perform innovative ideas and activities to upbring the student skills. Thank you, Madam, for your kind, consistent support.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you.
Now, may I request you to address this gathering, ma'am, please?
Yeah, thank you, Ma. Thank you, Nutana. I'm very happy to be at the midst of you today. It's a very good program planned by Jagadgiri Gutta College, and I appreciate your principal as well as the in charge computer science department
Thank you, ma'am.
for having this latest webinar on the latest topic, that is machine learning, which is very much essential nowadays. This is the order of the day. Without a machine, we cannot. That too, the COVID has accelerated the necessity of technology. So, I feel that it is very much appropriate to take up this topic today. And likewise, I appreciate Mrs. Azmat Madam, Assistant Professor in Computer Science Department, I think Court Women's College. Very nice to have you, Madam, and you have taken out so much of time spending with our students and enlightening them and encouraging them towards the latest technology. And I think I congratulate all the students who have joined today in this webinar. And I request all of you to pay attention and then understand. These are not easy things, which are we are not accustomed to such things. Therefore, I request all the students to pay attention and then write down whatever is said, and then go into the textbooks, open the textbooks, and then learn more from it. So please note down and then submit the whatever you understood. Please write up like you submit to the madam, head of the department, computer science. So that is the thing I request. And as I am telling, machine learning is nothing but I think artificial intelligence. Where using this artificial intelligence, people are replacing human beings. Slowly, human beings are being replaced. So almost equivalent work they are doing is machines are doing. So automatically they are inducing machines are almost, except in few things, almost they are beating up the human beings. Maybe these are the things which should be used. Once again, I want to alert everyone that all these advances are very much essential to the life, and only they must be used for the benefit of the human beings, benefit of the society, but not for the bad things. Therefore, everything is there in our hands. The way we use them will classify them as good or bad. So, therefore, I request all of you to learn things and go deep into these things, and then embrace these technologies. Anywhere you'll be successful. Anywhere, wherever, whichever job you take up, you'll be very much successful with this background knowledge, and then this programming, and then these are very essential also. We are handicapped. We doesn't know much of it, but you are at the advantage, children. So please listen to it, and then go deep into the subject, and then do some certificate courses also. I wish all the children should go for certificate courses. So many agencies are providing. After listening to the lecture of Mrs. Azmat Madam, I request all of you to get into this topic and then learn more and more, and then use it in your life for the sake of humankind. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I hope Mr. Azmat Madam will definitely enlighten our students with whatever knowledge she has. And kindly, I request her to be in contact and help the computer science social welfare college Jagadgiri Gutta after the webinar also in the future. For in different in enhancing the academics and all, I request her to be in touch with our society and help us in whatever way she could. Thank you, madam, for
Okay, ma'am.
accepting our
Thank you, ma'am.
invitation.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank
ma'am.
you very much.
Definitely,
And
definitely, I'll be there, ma'am.
yeah, thank you very much.
Anytime,
And
anytime.
yeah, I thank you. I thank also our principal and the head of the department, computer science, also for giving me this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot, and all the best to the students. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your encouragement and informative message. Now I request our principal, A. Hinabindu Madam, to say few words on this occasion.
Okay. Thank you, Nutana ma'am. And good morning everyone, and good morning Zetsu madam, and good morning our guest of today, resource person, Madam Computer Science Associate Professor from Kochi Women's College. And also I want to thank yes ma'am. I want to thank our computer science faculty, Nutana madam, Pallavi, and everyone else for organizing such a wonderful, like this is the current topic. What's happening right now in the world. This machine learning tools. We are seeing so much of mechanization of everything. Now we are going to have cars which will self-driven cars without drivers, and everything. What satellites and what all these are happening because of the strides in computer science. Computers are the next, like not next. It's right now. It's happening. And we don't know where this computer technology, the advances in computers will take us now, where it might lead the world. Because now everything is being done by the computers, and the artificial intelligence is the current mantra of the world. So I am very much grateful to our resource person for coming over or taking webinar for the welfare of our students, for the profit of our students. And as our ZSO madam has said, there are many courses being run on, even on internet also. We have seen many such courses, so students can nicely benefit from such courses. And I think madam would help and point out such courses which are available, thereby guiding the students and also our faculty to what to be done in this scenario, like current pandemic, where they're unable to attend classes in physical, and also very much tied down at homes with no resources at all. And I hope today's class will be a guiding thing, will help them in such direction, that they would utilize this knowledge that they have gained today in uh, in pursuing some courses, in utilizing the current situation to pursue such courses which are available, which will be like generate employment for them, because the future employment is in computers only, as everyone knows. So I thank once again our computer department and also our ZSO madam for always encouraging us, and also our resource persons today. Thank you, ma'am. And students, be alert and learn everything, and once you listen to that, go revise once again, and try to find out some more things which you have heard, and go deeper into these things. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for your support. Now I invite M. Pallavi madam to introduce our today's speaker, Mrs. Azmat Mubin.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, one and all. I am Pallavi, lecturer in computer science from TSWRDC, Jagadgiri Gutta. I warmly welcome you all to this webinar on machine learning tools and applications. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our speaker for today's session, Mrs. Azmat Mubin. Thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation. Before we begin, I would also like to add that Azmat was my colleague from University College for Women. Hence, it's a wonderful moment and a great pleasure having you here. To begin with, Azmat Madam is Assistant Professor, Computer Science Department at University College for Women from past 13 years and also has 6 years of industry experience. Mrs. Azmat has several qualifications, including a double PG in computer science, that is an MTech Computer Science and MSc Computer Science, along with a PG in Hindi literature. She has done her BEd in maths and special education as well. Ma'am holds a degree in GNIIT from NIIT and diploma in Java programming from Comtech India Private Limited. She is currently pursuing her PhD from Osmania University College of Engineering in Computer Science and Engineering. Her areas of research are in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. Ma'am has published a chapter on hands-on H2O machine learning tool in book titled Machine Learning and Big Data. Ma'am has published several papers in national and international journals. Apart from this, she is an associate member of Institute of Research Engineers and Doctors, and also of the International Association of Engineers. She has delivered various talks and given lectures on various subjects at state and national level, to name a few colleges at Hyderabad, Keshav Memorial Institute Management and Science, RBVRR Degree and PG College, and St. Pius Degree and PG College. Now, I would like to request our speaker, Mrs. Azmat Mubin ma'am, to take over the session. Ma'am will be speaking on machine learning tools and its application. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Because good morning to all. And without wasting the time, I just want to concentrate on the subject because I want the students to gain as much as they can gain. But after the session also, if you have any kind of problems or any kind of queries, you can put me a question, you can mail me, or you can call me anytime and I'll be there for you anytime. And moreover, I just, whatever I have prepared the content for today, like I want everything to be like understood very well by the students. So I have given a hands-on session at the end. So please concentrate. And if you have any doubts, you can ask me at the end of the session. So let's start with machine learning. Basically, what is machine learning? Everyone has a mobile phone with you. Every day you will be messaging, you will be using WhatsApp, you will be using Facebook, and so on. So many apps you will be using, right? So when you are using all these things, what do you observe every day? When you are typing a message, good morning, the first thing early morning you do after waking up, you message to your friends saying good morning. So once you type, the next day, if you type good, automatically you are getting morning. That is, the machine is learning every day. You can observe these things on your mobile itself. The first thing which you have it in your hand, that is also a machine. That is also learning every day new words. You say, hi, Ra. Whatever you say, hi, so and so name you give. That is also, it is learning. Every day you need not type the same name. The machine has already learned from you the names. It has learned the way you speak. And one more thing, you take up Ola, you take up Uber, you take up any wherever you want, you're going. So what is happening there? There also it is noting down your directions, which path you're following, which directions you are taking, which route you are taking. That is also noted. Next time it will tell you this is the route you are going to follow. So every day, every moment, you are seeing machines which are learning. So I'll just start with the PPT. Hope everyone is able to see my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So the first thing which we are going to cover today is what is introduction, what is machine learning, then types of machine learning tools, applications of machine learning, examples of machine learning tools used in real life, and then we will go for Veka machine learning tool, which will be hands-on project. So coming to what are the prospects of machine learning in India? There are in India and other parts of the world also, there are lots of jobs or careers. You can see when you compare it with other careers, there are a lot of job opportunities in this particular field right now. So according to Gartner, there will be 2.3 million jobs in the field of artificial intelligence and machine learning by 2022. So the salary of a machine learning engineer, you can say, it is much higher than the salaries of other profiles. So if you go for companies like Forbes, Google, Twitter, Quantify, these all are the companies which are hiring machine learning engineers, right? And they are paying around 8 lakhs per annum also. I request everyone to please mute yourself.
For disturbance, ma'am, I'll just look into it.
Yeah, please. So machine learning is widely machine learning is widely used where in different fields, like you can say agriculture, energy industry, e-commerce, fault detection, diagnosis, in education, how machine learning is becoming more widespread. It is in curriculum designing, you can use it in predicting the student's grade. How? Now, when students have secured some grades in the previous semesters, now whether their grades have gone up or down, you can note it and you can say that these people are why. What is the reason behind their grades going down? Or you can provide them with diagnostic things, like you can give them extra coaching or which subjects they are going behind. All these things can be noted in, it can be done automatically in machine learning. So recommending higher education courses to students, machine learning can help in that also. Modeling for intelligent tutoring systems. There are so many systems which have been developed to tutor the students. So when we see a human, what a human does, a human being is always learning from his past experiences. Whereas machines still now, I'm telling you, machines still now were following only the instructions given by human beings. Whatever you say, we know the computer is a dumb terminal. We used to say computer is a dumb machine. Whatever we say, it will do that only. Now we want our computers to be more intelligent, like humans. They should also learn. They should also learn from the experiences. They should also learn from what has been done previously. So for that, we are going to develop machine learning tools. So what is basically machine learning? Machine learning is the science of making computers learn and act like humans. How? By feeding data and information without being explicitly programmed. Means you need not do a lot of coding. You can simply give simple instructions, give simple data, then automatically based upon the data, it will learn and it will, what it is here you can see, there is an ordinary system. You are putting artificial intelligence and machine learning, then the machine learns. Then it can, based on the learning, whatever it has done, it can predict and it can improve itself. So the term machine learning was coined by Arthur Samuel in 1959. He was an American pioneer in the field of computer, gaming, and artificial intelligence. What he stated was that machine learning gives computers the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. Here, there may be so many students who might have learned C, C++, Java, and all. So if you have learned at least C, you might know how much of code is written to perform a simple addition or a multiplication or addition of matrices, or you can say multiplication of matrices. Lot of code has to be written. But in machine learning, you write code, very minimal code you are going to write. And then you are going to give some data, and then it is automatically going to learn from the data. Based upon the data, it is going to learn what is the data. We will see how it is working, how it will work out. So this was the term coined by Arthur Samuel. So in 1997, Tom Michel gave a well-posed mathematical and relational definition. What is it? A computer program is said to learn from experience. We are calling it E. With respect to some task, T, and some performance measure, P. So if its performance on T as measured by P improves with experience, means how much experience you have, based upon that, your performance will automatically improve. So you can see what is experience, how is gaining experience. Input data is given, the housing prices are given, customer transactions are given, clickstream data or images, so many things you can give. Then you have task. You have to predict the prices. Segment customers means divide the customers. Optimize the user flows. Then categorize the images. Then you will get the performance. What is performance? Based upon this and this, it is going to give you correct prices. Then it is going to give you, it is grouping. This is like you can say high class or low class or middle class, or you can say economy class. In aircraft, you flight, if you go, it is a business class, economy class. What are the things it is providing? Based on that, it can do it. Then another thing is, it is correctly sorting the images also. Now we will see some of the definitions given by some of the people. Like when we are talking about at its heart, machine learning. What is machine learning? Is the task. of making computers more intelligent without explicitly teaching them how to behave. You are not going to teach them how to behave. It is automatically learning from the experience. In the childhood, if you see your parents, how they behave, the way they behave, you learn from them. You see your parents, what they are doing, how they are sitting, how they are eating, all these things you learn automatically from them. Similarly, we want our machines also to learn from the experiences. So it does so by identifying patterns in data. Here it is taking the data. Based upon the data, what is the type of data it is and how it looks, what is the pattern. Based upon that, especially useful for diverse high dimensional data such as images and patient health records. This is one definition which was given by Bill Brock, Vice President of Engineering at Very. In other terms, in classic terms, machine learning is a type of artificial intelligence that enables self-learning from data and then applies that learning without the need of human intervention. You should note here that there is no human intervention once it learns something. So there are many different types of machine learning as well as many strategies of how to best employ them. Which one is best? We can use them. There are so many tools. This was told by Fran Fernandez. He is the head of the product at Espressif. So broadly, ML is a subset of computer science which involves applying statistics over observed data to generate some process that can achieve some task. Okay, so this has both structure of ML and the impact of ML. Okay. Now you can see the jargon of machine learning. Machine learning is not isolated. You cannot say it is one thing which is not connected to anything. It is connected to many, many things. You can see over here, a lot of things are connected with this. So many things are there. If you see this, you will just totally get confused. What is this machine learning? It is. So these are the things which are connected. We will see few of the things here, like how machine learning is connected to all these things. You can see classical learning, ensemble methods, reinforcement learning, neural nets, and deep learning. So recurrent neural networks, how these are all connected. Some of them we will see. Because we have less time, we will see few of them here. Now you can see here the main types of machine learning. If you have simple data, what are the clear features, then you can use classical ML. If you don't have any data, but we have an environment to interact with, then you have reinforcement learning. Then I'll talk about each one. When quality is a real problem, then we go for ensembles. If we have a complicated data and which is unclear features, which is not having any features which are clear. Now you will ask me, what are the features? Now, if you take a student, what features you can take? The student's roll number, it is a common, why we will take the roll number, we will identify with this roll number. What are the features? Whether the student is here, we are going to see whether the student is regular or not, whether the student gives answers in the class or not. These are all the things which we are taking features. Now, suppose if we are going to take some features of a disease, then we will see what is its, how much it is intensity is there. If someone is coughing, whether it is dry cough or whether it is wet cough, the doctors will ask. Then the cough is severe, it is coming from the lungs or it is only up to the throat. They will ask all these things. These are the features which we are observing. If we are observing a person like for cancer, if we are observing an image of a cancer, to what extent it has spread, that we are going to. Then for that, we are going to make use of these neural networks, and deep learning. Now, I'll tell you about this reinforcement learning also. Suppose a student is not learning anything, student is not studying properly, then I will say one day to the student, see, if you get this many marks, 70 marks or 75 marks, I will give you a prize. Then what does the student do? The student will definitely say, yes, I will. How many of you are there? There are a number of students here. How many of you say, yes, I will learn. I want to get the prize. I want to get the prize. If it may be a small pencil, it may be an eraser, it may be a pen, but it will it will make the student learn more. It will make the student that I have to gain something. Now, there are in reinforcement learning, you have, uh, you can say, rewards and punishments. Now, there is lockdown. If because there is lockdown, people are going out. If you go out, you will be challaned, that is, you will be fined, that is a punishment. Then people will not go out. That is reinforcement learning, means making the machine say that if you do this, you will get more, you are getting more experience. If you do this, you will not gain more things, or you will get punishment in the sense you will have to work hard more. That is what we are saying in reinforcement learning. Then coming to classical machine learning, we have supervised and unsupervised. Coming to supervised, we have classification, regression, and these two types. Coming to unsupervised, we have clustering, dimension reduction, and association. Now before going to the next slide, I'll ask you one thing. Now, I'm giving a lecture to you and I'll ask you do something and I will be moving around. Suppose if it is an offline class, I will be moving around the class and your teachers, they'll be moving around the class and they will be checking out whether the student is doing the problem given to them or not, writing the program or not. Then that is, the teacher will know that student is doing something, and the student also will try to do based upon the instructions given by the teacher under the supervision of the teacher. The teacher will say, suppose if you are it is a small children's class, small kids nursery class, teacher will say these are the blocks, these are square blocks, these are circular blocks. You put all the circle blocks together, all the square blocks together. We are teaching blocks to the students, and then sometimes the teacher says these are the red colors, all you put all the red colors together, all the blue color together, all the yellow colors together. The student will know that this is the red color and this is the blue color. Already the teacher has given a label, the teacher has already classified. That is classification, that is supervised learning. Now, coming to unsupervised learning, what will be done? There will be no teacher. Only everything will be given to you. You have to sort out. There are no labels. The student doesn't know. The small kid doesn't know that these are red, these are blue. Only based upon the similar type of colors, he will try to arrange all the similar colors together. All, then you can say all the similar type of things together. He's going to arrange. That is clustering. Now, hope you understood the difference between classification and clustering. Now, once again, I'm showing you here. In supervised learning, the machine has a supervisor or a teacher who gives the machine all the answers, like whether it is a cat in the picture or a dog. The teacher has already labeled them, the data into cats and dogs. And the machine is using these examples to learn one by one. Another example here is given as the apples. I say these are apples and these are pears. So all apples you have to put it together, all the pears you put it together. So easily you can do this is classification. So splitting objects based on at one of the attributes known beforehand. Known beforehand means already the labeling is done for it. So like example, you can take separating the socks by based on color. I say all the red color socks or all the blue color socks you put together, all the branded, this brand socks you put together, I'm giving them the things. Then another thing is documents based on language. All English documents you put together, all the Hindi documents you put together separately, all other Telugu documents you put them together. Another thing you might have observed, if you those who are lovers of music lovers, you might know 90s songs. That is, you are classifying the music by their year, or you can say by the genre. Some people say classical songs, some people say sad songs. You're dividing them, you're classifying them. First only you're giving a title. This is what is classification. So where do we use this classification? We use this classification for spam filtering. Spam filtering means when you get mails, and then if you are getting mails, some of the mails are in the spam. What do you think they are? Are they not necessary? Sometimes this is automatically dividing or classifying your mails in important mails and some of the mails which it thinks, which the computer, which the mail software thinks that this is a spam, it puts into the spam mail. Another thing is to detect a language. Language detection, whenever you are speaking in some language, it will try to identify, the machine will try to identify which language you are trying to speak in. Then a search of similar documents. If you type in Google, if you type something, then automatically it will give you a list of all the type of documents where this word is contained. That is similar documents it is trying to search. Another thing is sentiment analysis. What do you mean by sentiment analysis? Sentiment analysis is nothing but whenever for something, some restaurant or some reviews, if you give good or bad, that is sentiment analysis. I give some review. Now this is a seminar. I say this is on this topic. Somebody might say this topic was not good. Somebody might say this topic is good. That is yours. And then for that, somebody has said this topic is good and somebody has said this topic is not good. Then on that also I can say who said this is good is right. I am giving sentiment means I am giving good or bad, positive or negative reviews. That is sentiment analysis. Then recognition of handwritten characters and numbers. Sometimes, if you remember, people used to say based upon your writing, they used to say your character, about your character. People used to talk about your character whenever you are giving some things like it is when you are saying that this is you are quiet, you are calm, you are disciplined, and all they used to say. But now it is not machine. What they will say is this person is careless. This person might be, if the handwriting is very carelessly written, this person is careless, they will understand. This person is written because might be this person has written in a hurry. This way they are identifying the handwriting. Then fraud detection, how it is applied to fraud detection. Normally, every month you make a transaction of rupees 20,000, 25,000 or 30,000, not more than that. Suddenly, if you had made a transaction of 50,000 or 60,000, suddenly normal, it is out of your normal way of withdrawing or doing transaction. Then automatically it will detect. Normally, every month she or he used to take out or do transaction of 25 to 20 to 30,000. This month it is 60,000. Then automatically you will get a message on your mobile phone saying that, did you make this transaction? A transaction of rupees 60,000 was made on your through your bank account. Was it you or someone else? Then automatically you will know it is understanding that this is not normal behavior. So there are so many algorithms like naive-Bayes algorithm, decision tree, logistic regression, k nearest neighbors, support vector machine used for classification. So the machine here it is like a baby learning to sort toys. Just now I told you. Here it is a robot. You can say this is a robot, this is a car. So in classification, you always need a teacher. Why? Because it is supervised learning. The data should be labeled. The students, the machine should always know the label of that, then only they can classify. So everything could be classified. User-based interest. What is your interest? How many teachers are interested in so and so things? What are the articles based on language and topic? Music based on genre, I told you. And even your mails based on subject and content. Now another thing is, in classification only, you have whenever some bank, like many of you might be receiving everyday phone calls saying that you can avail a loan, we are offering you loan, and all these things they will be mentioning. Whom do you think they are targeting? Can anyone tell me, please? Just a little bit, I want you to wake up for some time. I mean to say,
Please respond.
anyone. Whom do you think they are going to target?
Yes,
Yeah.
girls.
Okay, fine. No, because they are all like normally this question, because they might not know the answer, I will tell them.
Okay.
The thing is, whenever the bank people whom they target is, they will target people who have I mean to say their credit score is more. They are employed. They should be employed, definitely. And if their credit score is good, what do you mean by credit score? If they have paid previously, they will see their previous records, the previous loan payment, repayment schedules, and how they have paid, whether their payment history is good or not. If their payment history is good, they are ready to pay lakhs and lakhs and lakhs. You take on loans and loans, on loans and loans. Another example I will tell you. The same thing, I will divide it like here there is a person, married, unmarried, married with the children and without children, another person. Now who will take more loans? The person who is married and who is having children. Person who is married and who is having children, definitely he will take more loans, so he will get more calls. That is the way they will target. The companies will target. So here also we can see here the credit history they will see if it is bad or good. Though it is bad, if he is having something to like he is having some property, have a pledge means some property. Property if he's having, and then he is having some guarantors, then definitely he is going to get a loan. If he doesn't have a property or something to mortgage, he will not get a loan. So, and if he is having property and he doesn't have guarantors, then he will not get a loan. Here you can see credit history is good. He is having a debt greater than $1,000, and then no, yes. Means what is it here? He may be having already, he is having a debt. greater than 1,000. So, and then he may get a loan. If he is not having, if he is having, he may not get a loan. Already he is in debt. There are so many other examples. So you can now go for this one. This is unsupervised learning. Here we don't know what is the data, which is already we are not labeling it. We are giving everything. Now based upon the child, how the child learns, this is similar type, he will try to arrange it. Then he's arranging it. This is called a cluster. This is called a cluster. This is called a cluster, where he doesn't, based upon the patterns, whatever he finds, he will try to put it. Whatever he finds, he will try to put it. So devise the object based upon unknown factors. Here he doesn't know the factors, or he doesn't know the features also. So machine chooses the best way, whichever is the best way, he will choose it. Like I am going to some place. I don't know that place. Now I will think this place is good, or this place, I don't know which place is, how much time it is going to take. I will see the distance from some, through some distance, I will see that this road is looking good. I will enter. I'll try to find out. I will try to find out whether this is leading or not. Then I will follow that. So now another thing here you can say, nowadays it is being used for market segmentation. Market segmentation means dividing the market, dividing the types of customers. Some customers, they are like they go out to purchase. Definitely they will purchase. Some customers, they go out only for window shopping. If you might have observed, sometimes just we will go and have a look. No need to buy. There are some types of customers like that. There are other types of customers, they want to buy something, they will go. And you might have observed, when you go to a particular shop, they will show, if the person is, definitely he will buy, that they will show many of the products to them. To few customers, they will show one or two products to them. Sometimes I've asked, why do you show few clothes to some customers and you are taking out so many things and showing to some other customers? Madam, we know which customers come to us for purchasing, which customers come only for time pass. Because how do they know all these things? Can anyone tell? How do they know? When the customer enters, how do they know that this customer is going to purchase? This customer is not going to purchase anything. You can put it in the chat also, the answer, if whatever I'm asking.
Daily they can observe the customers.
Through their experience, what we are making the system, computer learn is through experience. Same thing, the people, their salespersons, they learn through their customers, seeing different types of customers. They have got a lot of experience. By seeing the customers, they can tell which customer will purchase and which customer will not purchase. So to merge close points on a map for image compression, to analyze and label new data, and to detect abnormal behavior, we can use some of the algorithms. Here are k-means, clustering, then you have mean shift, dbScan. These are all the popular algorithms which are used with clustering. So clustering is also classification, but here we don't have a predefined class. I will give you another example where we know, like you are from BSc, all our BSc students and BCom students are here. Now, if I have BCom students, BSc students, I have a label, particular label. Then if I have NCC, NSS, that is my cluster. Simple thing to understand. NCC, NSS, you can find people who belong to some particular, means they are showing interest in that particular thing. So NSS, NCC, I will call them as a cluster. BSc, BCom, I can call them as a classification, that because they have a particular label, they have a particular class. Because in NCC and NSS, we don't have particular class or group. They have together one particular common thing. They have come for a common thing called as what? NCC or NSS. Then coming to machine learning tools. What are the different machine learning tools we will see here? So mastering machine learning tools will let you play with the data. You can train your models, you can discover new methods, and you can create your own algorithms. So machine learning comes with an extensive collection of machine learning tools, platforms, and software. So out of the different machine learning tools available, we can select whichever we feel easy or whichever we feel this will help for this, we can select and we can apply that to particular problem. Always it is necessary to understand that all solutions are not for all the problems. You have different solutions for different types of problems. So here also machine learning also you have to apply different algorithms and different techniques, tools you can apply for different types of problems. So the first machine learning tool here we're going to see is Weka. Most of them are open source and freely available. So it is a open source software. One can access it through a graphical user interface. It is user friendly, and the application of this tool is in research and teaching. And Weka lets you access other machine learning tools, like you can use the programming languages like R, scikit-learn, and any other things also you can use it. This is the look of your Weka. Weka is nothing but Wekato environment for knowledge analysis. The next one is K9. It is an also you can say it is also an open source machine learning tool that is also a GUI based. So the best thing about K9 is it doesn't require any knowledge of programming. Weka also doesn't require any knowledge of programming. This also doesn't require any knowledge of programming. It can be used for data manipulation, data mining, etc. So you can create data flows, you can create models, you can give interactive widgets and views. This is written in Java and based on Eclipse. This is the way how you can upload the data, you can do pre-processing, then there is a human interaction. Humans, once they give some feedback, based upon that they will train the data, the machine is going to train the data and creating model, and then you can just download the model. Then another machine learning tool is Accord.net. It is also a computational machine learning framework. It comes with image as well as audio packages. Such packages, they assist in training the models. You can use it for audition, computer vision, etc. All these tools have lot of libraries in them. This is the Accord.net framework, how it looks. Scikit-learn it is also an open source machine learning package. It is a unified platform as it is used for multiple purposes. As I was talking about, many problems may not have the same solution, but some of the tools, they can be used for different purposes also. So you can use it for clustering, classification, regression, dimensionality reduction, and pre-processing. So scikit-learn is built upon top of the three main Python libraries, NumPy, Matplot, lib, and SciPy. So you can test and train your models. It looks like this. So it is doing classification, it is doing clustering. Here it is performing so many operations over here. The next one is TensorFlow. It is also a free and open source software library for machine learning. Here, listen, one important thing to be noted is all the most of the tools which I am discussing today, they are available free of cost. You can download it from your system, from the Google, you can simply download it. So it is a blender of machine learning as well as neural network models. This is very mostly used. This is the most popular thing which is being used nowadays because it is having prominent features like you can say it runs on CPU as well as GPU, means graphical as well as your command line also it works. It is used for natural language processing, image classification. So this is the thing it is going to use. Training, it gives training. Here you have the, then it is going to divide it and it is going to deploy it. It is going to see whether it is a CPU or GPU or TPU, and then it is going for TensorFlow series. It is whether it is, there are different types here. These are all the in-depth things, very in-depth things. Next one is Jupyter Notebook. It is one of the most widely used machine learning tools among all. It is very fast processing as well as an efficient platform. It supports 3 languages, Julia, R, and Python. So because of that, the name has come Jupyter. So it is also used with both, you can use it as GUI here. Jupyter Notebook allows the user to store and share the live code in the form of notebooks. You can see and you can share the code with anyone in the live platform. You can share it. So here, for example, WinPython, Navigator, Anaconda, and Anaconda Navigator, these are all the things which can use this Jupyter Notebook here. Then this is the environment, how it looks. You can type your data here and you can see the coding and you can run it and you can see. And then PyTorch is a free and an open source machine learning library based on Torch library. There are so many things here. It is primarily developed by Facebook's AI research lab. And PyTorch has a good command over the GPU. PyTorch is completely based on Python. That's what it is given the name as PyTorch. This is the framework, how it looks. Here also the same training data, then testing, create network, trained model. Then you can see, you can publish the models. Now we are giving a session. Normally your teachers give you a session like a classroom teaching will be done. After that they will conduct some internal. Why do you think they are conducting the internal or external exam? To test how much knowledge you have gained and to test their abilities also, whether how much we need to improve ourselves. We the teachers, we think always if the student doesn't learn properly, he is not giving a good performance. We will see first what is the mistake in us, what problem we try to teach them properly or not. That is the first thing before we blame the students. What are we saying? So we try to improve ourselves. That is, we try to train more and more to ourselves. That is what we are training. Then we test. We give the students some data and we test whether they are able to solve or not. Then we think whether the students might have understood. So many times your teacher might be asking in the class, girls, did you understand or not? You say yes, but when is your actual test? When you write the exam, then your actual test is known. Whether the teacher and the student have passed the exam, it is not only the student who is passing the exam, it is also the teacher who is passing the exam. Why? Because the training was given by the teacher. Similarly, a machine also, we are training the machine. If the training is perfect, the machine will give you the good outcomes. If the training is not perfect, the machine will not give you a good output. So the training should be given properly. Suppose I teach 100 models, 100 photos I will show of apples, different types, different shapes. Next time, the 101 photo if I show, the student should be able to say apple immediately. That is what is testing. There is another tool called RapidMiner. It is also a tool for machine learning, deep learning, text mining, and predictive analytics. So it is a data science platform and has very amazing interface. So RapidMiner is their already existing data also. It is only drag and drop. This is the thing. It works like the environment is like this. Okay. Next, Next one is Orange 3 is a data mining software that is also Orange 3 assists in pre-processing, data visualization, and other data related tasks. So it is very helpful in Python programming. It also has a great user interface. Then there is IBM Watson, and then it is used for question answering system. Like I question you, you answer me something, that is question answers. So Watson is applied in various fields such as automated learning, information extraction, etc. So here it gives you a human-like experience to the users. Then you have another one is PyLearn 2 is a machine learning library that is built on top of Theano. It can perform math calculations. So PyLearn 2 is also capable of learning or running on CPU and GPU. Another one is Azure Machine Learning Studio. So this is launched by Microsoft, just like Google's Cloud AutoML. It is very easy way to perform anything connections and modules and data sets. Then you have MLlib. It is also a product of Apache Spark. I'm just discussing about different tools because our seminar, this webinar is based on tools and applications. I have told a few applications in the beginning. Now I'm telling you about all the tools. If you want to learn, then what you have to do, I will tell you in the last. Then next one is Google Cloud AutoML. So it is also used to make artificial intelligence accessible to everyone. So it provides the models which are trained and to the users in order to create various services. So for example, you can have text recognition, speech recognition, etc. Then you have Google Cloud AutoML. It was very much popular among the companies. Then you have Apache Mahout. It is launched by Apache. It is also an open source platform based on Hadoop. So it is also used for machine learning and classification and all. Next one is applications of machine learning. So first I kept this COVID-19 because recently this is the thing which is current issue in our country and other world also, the whole world. So how is machine learning helping? Is it helping or not? First of all, so this is helping a lot. Machine learning is being used to detect the outbreak of the deadly COVID-19. It is also helping in identifying high-risk patients. Machine learning is used to assess the impact on business due to deadly COVID. It is also used to develop medical solutions for COVID-19 virus. This is one of the things. So how are they using this? I kept in a this one. Basically, they take the chest X-ray, they extract some of the features using some FRMMs on multi-core CPU, and then this feature selection is done using an optimization algorithm. Then they use a classifier, and then they evaluate the things. Evaluate means they will whether this is correct or not. Then the extracted features are sent. They are tested whether this is a COVID image or not. If it is having COVID, yes, it is a positive case. If it is not, it is a negative case. It looks very simple, but it is not so simple. When you are giving, the number of images should be very clear, and the chest image, chest X-ray images, they should be clear. There are so many things you have to observe. There may be so many other problems which are related, so you cannot say simply seeing the chest X-ray, you cannot say that this is a COVID patient and all. But it is depending upon the doctors. If their doctors are experts, they may tell. We cannot tell as a data analyst. We cannot say that this person. We have to have a good knowledge of a domain, of the domain. Whichever domain we are working, suppose if we are working for a medical domain, we should have proper knowledge of the medical domain also. We should take help of the medical doctors to to use in our algorithms. The data also should be proper. There are so many things which we have to take care of. So there are so many other things, like you have sensors, you have wearable devices, you have like nowadays the oximeter is there, that is finding the patient's oxygen levels. There's automatic, you have now blood pressure machines. There are so many things which are available now. They are all wearable sensors. This is the how the it is helping your machine learning, it is helping in healthcare. So doctors and medical experts can use this information to analyze the health condition of an individual. They can draw a pattern from the patient history, means in the patient, if the history is there, the patient is having this from a long time, and predict what is the actual thing he is having. This is the thing for COVID. You can see they are using smart apps also. They are using, some of them they are providing now. I have seen a app, Practo app. The doctors have come online to help the people who cannot visit doctors due to the pandemic. You might have observed when you are watching YouTube videos, it is showing you Practo app, download Practo app. Why? Because the doctors, they have come online to help people around, those who are suffering from some ailments that may not be COVID always, but they are afraid of going to the doctor. So they can take the help. So it is, there are different things here. You can see machine learning and natural language processing. You can get SMS and instant messages. Now, person who is taking the first dose of the COVID, Covishield or Covaxin or anything, automatically after that number of days pass, then they are sending the message to that person that you have to take the next this one vaccination, next second dose of that. So how they are finding out, how they are these are all the things which they are using. They are using some sensors, sometimes they are using SMS services. All these things are using the machine learning. Then coming to financial services, you can find out if you invest in some companies or some organizations, whether it is going to give you a risk or it is going to provide you with a lot of benefits, that you can find out based upon the company's previous history and the next what is going to come. Based upon that, you can see, and then you can have a cyber surveillance which is helping in identifying those individuals or institutions which are prone to financial risk and take necessary actions in time to prevent fraud. This is the algorithms which we are going to apply for that. In suppose the company is having so many loans, then automatically we can reject. See here, reject bad loans, accept good loans. Another thing is face detection. Face, whenever you're identifying through face, it is now your phone, it will say you want to put a face, this one for opening the lock, phone lock, what you want, face identifier, then you can put. There are so many things that you can now, attendance, students attendance, faculty attendance, they're using the face recognition. So ML, face recognition technology, is used to identify terrorists also in the crowd, among the visitors of airport. Then there are so many other places where the gatherings are done. There they can identify using this face recognition. You can see here, they gather the data first, then they're trying to put so many types of things, so many faces they're going to create. Now, one more thing, how many of you use Google Photos? Many of them use Google Photos, right? In your phone, you have a Google Photos. There, it will say, it will categorize the photos based on names. Sometimes it will ask you, is it the same photos it will show you? When you were younger, when you were a child, and when you are a elder one. Are these two people same? It will understand these two people are same, but it is trying to confirm it from you. If you say yes, it will put under your name label. You give the names to the photos, it automatically searches for that. If you search, you want to search my photos, it will search my photo. If you want to search a particular person's photo, it will automatically search for you. You have it in your phone itself, you can try out. Tech marketing and sales, you can capture and analyze the user customer details, and you can find out which customers visit to you and which customers have a they purchase a lot. You can make a category of all those customers. You can give a personalized message to them that we have got a new stock. Then they'll also feel happy, these people have remembered us. That way you can improve your marketing and you improve your sales. Then government agencies are using it for different things, like collecting the data to minimize the cost and increase the efficiency. They're using it for finding out how many people are taking this ration cards. For ration cards, white ration cards, they are applying how many are fraud and how many are genuine things that they're finding out. So many things. And then coming to transportation, based on the travel, I told you, I travel from my house to Koti every day. Then I have two routes to follow. I take the longest route. Why? Because there is no traffic there. And the shortest route has a lot of traffic. Then what I do every time, whenever I'm going, I find when the map, it shows me the longest route only. Why? Because it is finding out with which route I follow, which route I like. When you go to Amazon, you don't purchase anything, but you just browse few things there. Next time it will show you those type of things only. And even in your YouTube, you watch what type of things you watch. Next time you will get that type of content only. Okay, that is also one of the applications of machine learning. It is learning from the way you are using your YouTube, from the way you are using your this one Ola or anything, whatever you're using, how it is using your Amazon, how you are doing online purchases every time. Based upon your interest, it is going to show you that type of products only. Then it is used for oil and gas, for energy resources. Where are the sources of energy? Finding out in the maps. Then it is still expanding. Then coming to, I'll show you one small clip. Madam, do I have a time? People are, can I continue? Because I wanted to show this a little. This one is a Tanzania. This is a place where cassava vegetable or the fruit is grown. Here 500 people are feeding on that only. But what is the problem with that thing is, the cassava plant is, there are so many diseases in that. But they are not able to, that is a big challenge for them. So when this challenge for that, they have developed this one. You can see here, you can see that in this particular thing, they are, when they put this phone near the leaves, it is showing you what is the problem and how they can find out. This is the thing you can see. You are able to see the thing here. It is clearly showing what is the problem. Just take your mobile. This is an app which has been the name of the app is NURU. The name of the app is NURU. This has been developed using 5,000 images. So they have taken cassava diseases for this project. So many 5,000 images they have taken, and they have enlarged it and identified all the images. Here they have used TensorFlow. This is another app where we are seeing the predicting the air quality using the TensorFlow, same thing. So here also they have taken lots of images of, here they have basically taken the images in New Delhi, and they have developed this one. They have taken so many things, so many images they have taken, and they have identified. After identifying, it is easy now with the app. This app is Cognizer, Air Cognizer. It predicts the air quality with machine learning. So what you are going to do is, they're taking so many images. After clicking so many images, they have seen which quality. Now after this, if you click the image of any place on the screen, see how many images they have taken. So this Air Cognizer, it is an image classifier. So it is classifying the image and finding out where the levels of this is, pollution levels are more. See, so anyone can find out, only the thing is, anyone can find out what is it doesn't consume much of your battery also, or it will not consume much of your phone memory also. This is air cognizant. Another thing is, you see this one, she's a lady, she's from Uttarakhand, and now this lady, she doesn't know how to, like she doesn't have any knowledge, education, she doesn't have any education, but she's not able to help her children even in studies also. But still, for everything she needs to take help from some other people. Like whenever she wants to go to a bank or anywhere, she has to ask someone. So I can't do any related things to reading and writing. So one day what happens is, you can listen. You can listen to her. She doesn't know.
We are unable to hear her, ma'am, but like, yeah, we can read the subtitles.
Yeah, you can read the subtitle. So she can now, what she can do is, she can go to bank and she can do her own transactions. She can book a train ticket and she can say anything she can do now. She's saying that I like. Which app is this? Is the Google Lens app. This is the story of Urmila. So now what we are going to, you might have seen now how the this machine learning is helping. In your Google Lens also, you can try out so many things. There is a translator. You can learn any language. Whenever, suppose you go to any place, any state where you don't know the language, you just ask them to speak out that language, and automatically it will convert it to your language, which you can understand. You have so many languages available. If you have seen the Google Lens and Google Translate, there are so many apps available on your Google, which will help you to do many things on your own. Now, we are going to learn the hands-on session. Madam, if you permit me for more time, if I can take this hands-on session, I will show you how this works out.
Yes, ma'am, sure.
Yeah. So this Veka, we are going to learn about Veka, how it works. So Vekato is Vekato Environment for Knowledge Analysis. It is named after a flightless New Zealand bird. Veka is a set of machine learning algorithms that can be applied to a data set directly or called from your own Java code. So Veka contains tools for data preprocessing, classification, regression, clustering, association rules, and visualization. Now, first thing first, how can you download Veka? Simply just, there are two versions of Veka. One is the stable version, another one is other version is available where it is the latest version is 3.9. So what you can do is, you can download any of the versions for your computer based upon like Windows. If it is operating system is Windows, or operating system is Linux, or any operating system, you can download it. So how to download? I have given a video link, because now this timings doesn't permit me to show you the installation. I will tell you, I have given you the link over here. The YouTube link is given. I have created a video so that you can just go to that video and you can download it. Everything is given very clearly. You can go to Google, simply type Veka, you can say download Veka 3.8 or anything for Windows, if you have a Windows system. If you have Unix system, you can type Veka, download Veka for Unix. Then you will get a lot of options. From there, you select the Veka official website. That website will give you this one link, where if you click, automatically it will be downloaded, and then after downloading you can see the Veka, how it looks. I will show you. This is the one. If you open it, it will look like this to you. Okay, this is the thing which I am going to, I'll show you. how it works. One minute. It it appears on your start button. If you click, you will get this Weka. Are you able to see this one?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this is the one. Okay. One second. No, this is the one. You just need to go to Explorer. Are you able to see the Explorer? Then here you have Experimenter, Knowledge Flow, Workbench, Simple CLI. Here we are going to click on Explorer. Then here we have pre-process, classify, cluster, associate, select attributes, visualize and all. So first thing is whenever we are performing anything, we need to do pre-processing. We are going to perform pre-processing. So what is pre-processing? Pre-processing is nothing but cleaning of the data. Whatever data is there, we are going to clean it. Clean it means you may get so much of data which is unnecessary for you, which may not be necessary for you, that you are going to delete it. You are going to remove it. That is pre-processing is done. And you want to visualize how the data looks. So first thing, going to reprocess, it is there already, click on open file. You may note down these all steps. Then here, this is containing already existing data is the available here with Weka. Whatever data is there, we are going to take up that data because we don't have time to create our own data. So we are taking the data which is available. So I am going to C:, program files, then Weka 3.8.5. Hope everyone is able to see what I am doing here. Then
Yes.
click on data. You have so many data files here. These data files have an extension .arff. What do you mean by that? ARFF means attribute, relation, file, format. What is the relationship between the attributes and the relations? Their relations. So there are so many things. I am taking any one of them I will take. I am taking right now diabetes. You can see breast cancer, contact lenses. There are so many things available. You can take diabetes. Taking here diabetes. Click on open. You're able to see everything here. Automatically you got your data visualized. You can see here. So here you can see there are some skin diseases. If I click on skin, this graph has changed automatically. Insulin, then the graph has changed. I've selected two features. What are the two features I've selected? Skin and insulin. Next, I'll select age. Automatically, the graph has changed. Based upon age now, how many people are there? It is showing. What are the values? What are the ranges it is showing you? Now, you can select from here, and apart from this, you can select from here also, you can select and you can see. The graph will be changing based upon the what values you are going to select. There are different features which have to be. Plasma is there, then blood pressure is there, skin is there, how much insulin they take, that all the things are there. Now, if I feel that I don't want some of the things here, I don't want this particular feature here, select it and remove it. Simple. You can remove it. One more thing is you can visualize. Here you can see this is the which database we have taken here is the PIMA diabetes database, which is there online. So how many instances means how many records are there? 768 records are there. There are number of attributes are 9, and the sum of weights means all the total instances number of records are 768. Now you can see here name whichever I have selected. Now if I have selected insulin, so if I have selected insulin, how many are there? If this is selected insulin, distinct values are 186. It is numeric type, and unique values are 93. 12% out of the people use insulin. So you can visualize all of them together also. So that is here we are using it. Another one I will show you is the same thing. I can take pre-processing, go to open file, go to C:, program files. Once again, I'm showing Beka 3.8.5 and data. I'm taking breast, same diabetes only I'm taking. Then I am going, this time I'm going for classification. I go to classify. I have some options here. Use training data, or you can use test data. You can create a separate data and you can test it. And then you can use cross-validation. Cross-validation means you have to use 10 folds, 5 folds, 20 folds. How? What is the 20 folds, 10 folds? I have 100 records. Out of that 100 records, if I divide it into 10, 10, 10, 10, how many splits do I have? How many folds do I have? 10 folds I have. If I am dividing it into 10, 10, 10 means I will have 10 folds. So I can compare that 10 records with the other 10, 10, 10, 10. That is cross validation. I'm doing a cross validation, checking. You need not do anything. Am I doing anything here? No, I'm not doing anything. It is automatically performing. Screen is not visible. Pallavi madam, you are not able to see the screen?
Oh, I can see it, ma'am.
Yeah. Some of them they are saying.
Maybe they have a network issue at their end. I can see it, and it is also visible.
Clear.
In the video.
Yeah. So now instead of cross validation, you can use percentage split also. Here you can make percentage split means your training data, how much training data you want to give. 60% training data, 40% testing data. Data, you have 100 records, 60 records you want to train, you want to give us training data, and 40 records for testing data. Or if you have 200s, based upon that you can manage it. 60 here it is given, by default it is given 66%. So anything you can take. By default it was cross validation. Let us take cross validation. So I have gone to classify, then it was selected. I am retaining it like that only. If you
ma'am, I think sorry to disturb you, ma'am. I think your screen got paused somewhere.
Now,
yes.
Yeah, it's just wait a minute, ma'am. If it is not coming, next we will see once again.
Yeah.
Now it has changed?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay, fine. One second. I'll stop and I'll share once again. One second.
Okay.
Selective.
Yeah, ma'am. Now I can see it.
Yeah, okay. We'll go for choose. Click on choose. Able to see J48 here. In trees, we have J48. First, I clicked on classify, then choose. After choosing, I have to go to trees. In that, I have to, yes, ma'am?
Sorry. The screen got paused, ma'am.
Again?
Yeah, I cannot see the trees or.
No, you're not able to see the tree?
No. We are just seeing the screen where we have Explorer, Experimenter, Knowledge Flow, a workbench, and simple C. Yeah, it got stuck there itself.
Okay, fine. No, why it is not? Might be one thing. Yeah, this is Explorer. It's showing that only.
Yes.
Now, at least now pre-process is it showing?
No, ma'am, no. Yeah, now,
It's showing.
now it's showing. Yeah.
So that's what again the thing is.
Maybe it's taking some time to load.
Yeah. Because this is another application, no? So it has to open, means it is taking another time. So now you're able to see this.
Yes, ma'am.
No.
No.
I don't know. 1 second. Let me try out once again.
Okay, ma'am.
You're not able to see the screen?
No. So we'll do one thing. If there is some network problem. Yeah, now we can see, ma'am.
Classify.
Yes.
Then go to choose. Are you able to see, madam, now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Trees.
Trees, yes.
Trees. Then click on J48. Select J48. And then click on start.
Okay.
After clicking on knowledge about statistics, little knowledge about mathematics when you want to learn about this machine learning. Okay, so now you can see here you got some information over here, that is true positive, false positive, all the statistical calculations it has done automatically. I have not done anything manually. That is very important to be noted here. Then I am clicking on this one. You are able to see this trees J48. I am doing a right click here. You're able to see the menu which came here?
Yes, ma'am.
Here I am going to right click and going for visualize tree. Then you are able to see this tree.
No, it's taking time to load.
Yeah. This is the tree which you get. Got it, madam?
No, ma'am. I think there is some network issue. It's a bit slow.
Okay. No problem. So you will get in the form of a tree, which I have shown you in the loan credit. I have shown you, the same way.
Right.
This tree will be displayed to you. Okay. I'll just this anyway. You will have the recording with you. You can see that.
Okay.
The tree is there, yeah?
Yeah, ma'am. Now we can see. I
The
think.
tree, yeah,
Yeah.
it is. You can see that.
Yeah.
One second. You can see now. The tree is seen. So it is showing you the plasma content, whatever the mass is there, mass age is there, whether it is positive, tested positive or tested negative. For diabetes also, it is showing you here. That is very important here. Next thing is, you can do the same thing. You can use so many algorithms are available. You can choose any of the algorithms, and based upon what is your requirement, you can have a random forest. So that also you can select random forest, then click on start. Every time you have to click on start. Then you can see here, you can see the model you can load. You can see here the model, and this is the model. Anyway, whichever model you want to load it, you can see that. Then coming to clustering also has so many algorithms. We use simple k-means algorithms. Here you can get how much, what is the full data, how many records are there, 768 records are there. It is dividing into different clusters here. It has divided into two clusters. One cluster is talking about 500 patients. Another cluster is talking about 268. It has divided into two clusters. Here, pregnancy, how many are there? Plasma, how many? This one are there. Then you have skin diseases, insulin, how many of them take? These are all the things which they have clustered. Clustered means divided into groups. How many have tested negative? How many have tested positive? These are how much time has taken. 0.02 seconds, very small, very minute time, within minutes or seconds you can say it is dividing. So cluster 0 has 500 records and cluster 1 has 268 records, that is 65%, and this is 35%. So you can apply this a priori algorithms, and you can visualize all the things in this way. You can use any type of graphs. You can see, you can change this plot size also, you can change. You can, if you want to see how much is there, that also you can see. Here you can change the classes. If you're able to see the screen, you can see this all things.
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. So these are all the things which you can do. Lots and lots of things you can do. You can see here, this graphs are changing. You can change the attributes. You can select the attributes which you want to have it. Say, based upon that update, if you say it is giving you only for skin. I have selected only skin. If I select only this one, then what is my update? If I say, then it is changing the things. So hope this is clear for everyone. There are lots of things to learn in this. Lot many things here to learn in machine learning, deep learning, and all. If you have any questions, you can ask. Or you can post it to me on my mail ID also. Pallavi madam will provide the mail ID. You can post me with your mail, the questions also. You can do it.
Yeah, ma'am, sure. You're done, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am, for a wonderful lecture. Indeed, today's lecture was very useful and helpful to all. The students, especially final years who are stepping into the job market, they might have got a clear idea like what machine learner actually means. That is machine learning from experience or learns from experience without actually programming it. And also you have sorry about the interruption, ma'am. They learned several tools that are used such as Vika, Jupyter, PyTorch, PyLearn, etc. in machine learning and their applications on day-to-day life such as in COVID research. And I hope that today's session will be helpful for students in choosing their career, keeping in mind the demand for machine learning at present. Thank you, ma'am. Now, students, you have any questions, please unmute yourself and you can ask or post in the chat box. Yes, Ma, if you have any questions, please post or unmute yourself and ask. So, ma'am, on behalf of our students, I would like to ask you one question, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So, can you tell me the examples of some companies like which are opting for machine learning, like they have more job opportunities where our students would like to apply?
Basically, there are some companies which are taking like Blue Dot. There is a closed loop.
Okay.
Then there is Clavi.io. There are so many other companies also, like Google, and
Okay.
then Accenture. There are so many companies which are taking up these things, like these people, this type of and there are, it is like if we take up another, like where we have only, if we go for this particular thing, what are the job opportunities and what skills they require, there will be another session.
Okay.
Because I have prepared a lot of things, but time doesn't permit now. There are
Yes.
different job roles also. Basically, we think I'm going for I want to become a data scientist, or I want to become a machine learning engineer. There is not only one role. There are basically many roles. Like you have machine learning scientist role, engineer role, data analyst role. There are different roles, and people are hiring, different companies are hiring for different particular roles. Like Google might be hiring for some particular role. They want many of the machine learning engineers. Some of them want for only data analyst. Like that, there are so many roles. And what are the, I have a thing like prepared for that. That what is the basic knowledge they require for going for that particular job. When they are applying for a particular job also, what is the particular knowledge they need to have? They need to have the background of that thing. So like they can apply for Accenture, they can apply for Google, they can apply for so many other things like I told you.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. And so what do you think, like the opportunities that they have, the people who are doing specialization in machine learning, ma'am? Will the market will be open for how long?
Now, because I told no in 2022, because data is vast data everywhere. The data is for, even if you take COVID cases in the last year, we did not have data. People were suffering. Now the DRDO, they have developed a vaccine so soon. Within a year, they have developed why? How could they develop? Because they were having the previous data, and they were able to develop so soon. So many vaccines have been developed because they have already the data. If the data is vast available for us, we can do. They require many data analysts.
Yes.
That is the main requirement in the present trends now.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So girls, you have any doubts, ma'am? Okay. Now we have come to the end of this session. On behalf of Jagadgiri Kutta College, I take this opportunity to propose a vote of thanks to everyone who attended the national webinar on machine learning tools and applications. I would like to express my gratitude to Dr. R.S. Praveen Kumar Sir, IPS Secretary, Social and Tribal Welfare, for giving us an opportunity to strengthen our students and teaching communities. Thank you, sir. I express equal gratitude to Dr. Praveen Mamidala Sir, Joint Secretary and Head of Higher Education Department, TSWREIS, for his constant support and for motivating us to do various activities. Thank you, sir. I thank Dr. P. Bhanuprasad Sir, OST, TSWRDC, for encouraging us. Thank you, sir. I owe my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Rajni Pasculeti, ma'am, Zonal Coordinator, TSWRDC, South Zone, for touching the code with all the lectures and encouraging them to do various activities. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank our principal, A. Himabindu, ma'am, for her enthusiastic support. Thank you, ma'am. I deeply express my sincere gratitude to Mrs. Azmat Mubin for enlightening all teachers and students with her valuable lecture on machine learning tools and its applications. Thank you very much, ma'am. I thank all faculty members of TSWRDC, family, teachers, lecturers from other colleges and scholars for participating in the webinar. Our heartfelt thanks to our students for active participation. Before leaving, I would request one and all to fill the feedback form, which will be shared to you. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I leave now?
Thank
Yes,
you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
It
all.
was an
Thank you,
excellent
everyone.
session.
Yeah.
Thank you once again, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.